beautiful morning. My prayer is that may today bring the joy of many hopes of yesterday that you forgot. Yes, whatever it is that you hoped for yesterday. May today bring those joys back onto your face, into your life, into your business, into your career, into your profession, into whatever it is that you endeavor to put your hands upon. That's my wish and that's my prayer for you today. Okay, you're welcome to Galaxy Television, and the program is Family and Values. So, how well are we doing this morning? I hope you did not wake up on the wrong side of the bed. If you did, please try and walk way out of it and just relax for a second and get your bearing and know how you'll be able to, forge ahead to face today and the activities that comes with it. Okay, so Galaxy Television is a program. The programs you can actually listen to Galaxy Television is one of them, is Family and Values, and you can always visit us from all our social media platforms. Also, don't forget that radio app, the which Galaxy Television is radio app, website application or national live station 7.1 and US 27 stations 110 and on Facebook and X, Twitter, on X and also on YouTube. You can always be on the go with Galaxy Television and you're not going to miss anything. My name is Runa David. This morning, I want you to know one thing. Believe in yourself.
Well, good morning. I wanted to say you came in lady in red and I came in all white. I don't know what's happening, but well, we are having a combination. Good morning to you. Yesterday I was putting on fire. Yesterday I was putting on fire. Yeah, Johnson was. Today now I'm on a peaceful side. I come in peace, so I'm putting on white. Yeah.
Reflect all the
So me, I came peacefully because today we are on a peace. It's Tuesday with a difference, so we are peaceful. As my name is Princess Joy Abu, this morning I'm on a peaceful note. Welcome to Family and Values on Galaxy Television. Yes, we are streaming across all the social media platforms. Download the Galaxy mobile app so that you can watch us on the go. Turn on your Facebook notification. I used to say when you see these pretty faces, it's time for Family and Values. And for those of you that think I'll stop talking about my birthday, well, I've been begging you, go to YouTube. Yeah, birthday is over. Just subscribe to the YouTube now. You know how we do it on the fellowship here. It promises to be another Tuesday with a different, very exciting, very interesting topic. Don't want to miss it for anything. Please join us on all our platforms and you're going to have a wonderful time because, of course, it's Tuesday with a different, you know how we do it on the show this morning. Enjoy, sit back.
So, do we have a shout out this morning?
Yes, I do, and I actually forgot. Yes, this is a very big shout out to my baby Michelle. If I should actually call me today, don't forget today is my birthday, so I've not forgotten. Happy birthday to you! I'm wishing you the very best. 10 years is no joke. Don't worry, you're growing, you're coming up. We wish you the very best from Family and Values. Enjoy your celebration in school today. We'll see you later. Don't worry, to collect my right, I'll collect it. Don't worry. Yeah.
So on that note, virgin anniversary, birthday, even your relationship anniversary, the day you actually met that lady,
I said I love you.
Of course, love.
So we are celebrating the relationship. God is 10 years broke up. We are celebrating with my ex. Thank God I'm free. We are still celebrating with you. Probably the person has gone through a lot and has looked back and said, wow, so I could survive all this. So we are all celebrating with you. Maybe for them it is. Yeah. It's your opinion. For some people out there, they'll celebrate everything, celebrating.
actually here to be celebrating that
Yeah.
at the moment. On that note, it's time for us to go for our mini feature as we come back with our guests. Actually blushing, but you will know the reason why much later. But in the process of welcoming you to the show once again, if you're just tuning in, you've not missed anything. And this morning we're looking at education. Did you attend the government school? Some call it public school. Did you attend government, or like some will call it public school, or you did a private? Okay, today I want you to just come closer, sit back, let's take this together. Call that mama that sell pepper next to you, that your neighbor that the children attend government school. Call them. We need to, encourage ourselves this morning and also enlighten ourselves in the process of encouraging ourselves, because truth be told, many things are missing when it comes to our children attending government school. There's no need for us to be worried or think it is not as private. No, good things, I can tell you, I can testify, do come out from that dirty bin that you see here. You can see diamond, big chunk of bundles of money. Yes, and that's what government school does, and has done to many of us. And I have the privilege of having a guest who has been a blessing, okay, to some of us and our children who are still in government school. And she has also been blessed by privilege to be part of government school benefits. And I'm talking about none other than I will call the name the way I love to call it. Oluwafunmiso Olabisi Oyelonu. She is MD Trade Winds Export Limited, a seasoned financial experienced banker, and an advocate for girl child. And I will have this because she doesn't like me having it, but I will have it. Because if not for that, I don't know how I will meet her. Maybe some other way I will. She is actually the pioneer president and founder of Wesley Girls All Students Association. We call it WOGA. And that is why I have her here this morning. I want to welcome you to our beautiful station, even though you have been part of Galaxy for reception, according to you. She has worked with our president and she served with Impact Films. Interpact Films. Okay, so she's aware and knowledgeable of the starting of Galaxy. So to God be the glory, she's
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Okay, so I have a tradition of always speaking stuff from my guests, and this morning I was gracefully looking at you. I don't want to do the one that one of my guests just told me, do you know how much this bracelet just take? So I looked at you and I'll be picking your bracelet. I don't want the wristwatch, I don't want the necklace, I don't want the earrings. I'll just be going for the bracelet. So after the show, you just gracefully drop it for me. That's the way of welcoming you to our fellowship. No, don't worry, the shoe is not my size. Come on, I have very big legs. I have very big legs. So look. So I do 43. I do 43. But I know the bracelet would fit everyone. So you'll be dropping that. Welcome, ma. Welcome to the show.
It's so good to have you this morning. Where do I start from?
From the beginning.
From the beginning. I love that.
Let me say this. When you look at, I'm just asking this out of the box. When you look at the government school of now and the one you were privileged to be part of, what do you see? Are you encouraged in any way? Are there any little loopholes here and there that you think we can help to admonish the government and parents generally on?
Okay, thank you very much for having me at Galaxy Television. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be repping.
It's really repping.
Public school, former students. I ended one way back 1981. I think all my life I've attended public school. Primary and then public school started 1981. And that was the Jack Only period. And we were fortunate, I'm going to use that word, to have started that school, Wesley Girls Secondary School. It wasn't Wesley Girls Secondary School, it was actually Methodist High School too. And later there was a name change. And so you can imagine the Jakode era. At that period was a period when government needed to increase access. Private schools started way back. When you talk about, the MS Grammar schools of this one, it was a private school, it was a missionary school. And so you had quite a lot of missionaries, going into education as part of their own strategy to open up, for evangelism, as it were. Knowledge is very important when you are going to be able to develop people. And so there have been quite a lot of them. And then at that period also, there was a shortage, no room for more people to go to school, especially when you begin to look at population growth, when you begin to consider the fact that more people are coming. Okay, so I'm going to be using Lagos State because I've lived in Lagos all my life. So we had to go to the public school. We were transferred. Well, is that what? Yes, I think that was what we were posted to. That was, and we started, from GS1. No, sorry, there was no GS there. No. Class 1. We were class 1. Was class 1 to from 1 to from 5. Then there was no GS1.
There was no senior secondary school.
That curriculum had not started.
Not started.
And so we started in that our, shed. What do you call the poultry shed?
Yeah.
But that was where we were from 1 to from 5. But I would say that we had everything. It was basic education. We had our biology lab. We had all the laboratories. We had biology, chemistry, physics. We had home economics. We were taking home economics practicals. We had teachers. We did all. I did French till my Form 4. I couldn't carry it to Form 5 to go and write it, so I dropped it. Our former teacher was Mr. Bolaji Ojoba. He became NFA, worked at NFA, I think, in the French department, translation department later on. So we had good teachers. We had dedicated teachers. We had teachers who were interested in us, grooming us, helping us to develop, especially at that, girl child. It was a girl, focused school. And we saw the impact of government, ready to help us to grow in terms of providing the resources for us, to improve. And one of the things I always say is the size of the classrooms then. The entire arm of the number of people that we came in together we were 120. My number was 100, based on my, I still remember my WAEC number, 1518189/100. So we were 120 in all in that set, 1981 to 1986. And so we had just about, few people, well-managed class. There was no overcrowding, in the classrooms, and we had our teachers coming. We still today have, relationship with some of our teachers, our principals and everything. So it was a period where, though we were like, well, we would have had it if we had, options or, opportunity to make choices. Maybe we would have, gone to other schools. But because of this economic situation, there is no way. You don't choose where you are going to be born. You don't choose where you are going to be done. But so where you find yourself, you need to make the best, out of it. So comparing that, I think that government schools today, and like I said, Lagos State, in terms of aesthetics, in terms of building, we're beginning to, we've seen better. Wesley has been rebuilt. So many other schools, in terms of structure, they have improved. In terms of teachers also, we see them because we still interact, with them at the public school today. So we see committed teachers, but of course there are, things that we could do then, that teachers could do then, that they cannot do now. In terms of our teachers disciplined us. Today I think we see that, that level of discipline, because then, I used to see kids nowadays, when I was driving here, 8:30.
You're still on the road. You're still on the road, right? Like you're asking questions, yeah.
By that 7:30, 7:45, the bell is for assembly. is done, we then, as prefects, we're already standing and waiting for you to come. You know, so I remember then at Methodist Girls High School, the principal, then one of the teachers, Mrs. I've forgotten her name. She will stand by the gate. When you see her standing by the gate,
from a
wherever
distance,
you are, you will be running. You will be running, and it was the same thing, you know, with us, for us to make sure that we are seated, you know, for that first lesson. But we see that, see saw them coming, you know, at that time. So I'm saying that that one is not a government thing. It has to do with parents. It's an attitudinal thing.
Yeah.
It has to do with the children themselves. Because I tell my kids, you know, you cannot go late to school. You know, my father will always tell me, you know, you can't go late to work, you can't go late to church. So those two, you know, things. So those are issues that, you know, are on the side of the beneficiaries of education. But I think there are a lot of room, you know, for improvement, just like anything in terms of, you know, what government can do. I think in where we are at today, we've seen quite a lot of improvement. By the time you start to go outside, you know, the state that we are in, we see it on social media. We see the challenges that, you know, the state schools are being faced. I mean, then it's either you are going to the federal government college, which was a government school, or you are going to a state-run, you know, school. But right now, we see the state of some of the federal government colleges. We see the state of, you know, colleges, you know, schools outside, you know, the states that we are living in today. And we see that there is, you know, a whole lot of challenges. There's issues of shortage of teachers, issues of lack of funding, you know, even from the government side. You know, like they say, you have to put your money where your mouth is. You say you want to improve the lives of people. Education has a correlation between, you know, with development, social, economic, and the ability of citizens for them to be able to rise up to challenges, you know, for them to want to say we are ready, you know, to resolve complex situations. So that's what education does to you. Education opens your mind. So when you have a situation where government is not doing enough in terms of budgetary allocation, you know, to education, then we start to look at, we need to, where are the priorities? Where are the priorities? We keep saying the children are the future leaders of tomorrow. Are we bringing these future leaders up? So today, you know, the funding, infrastructural decadence, you know, the decay. You know, some of them, we see them rain pouring in, sitting on the floor.
Okay. Now, you know, because you're already talking about the infrastructure and everything. Now, can we now say that the educational reforms are affected due to the, I would say, poor performance of governance in our area? Is that what would result to this reforms, infrastructural, this thing we are seeing? Because you just mentioned something, I wanted to say, if we go on social media, well, I was lucky to attend a government school from my early JES on to JES. We start, we know we belong to the class of JES. Yeah, so at least, and then in my SS1, my dad switched of course, because of the obvious situations, overcrowding and everything. But would you say that the reforms in the infrastructural system of education generally is caused by the government?
So, when we are talking about reforms, I mean, generally, I think the educational system in Nigeria, government is trying as much as possible to standardize it. That was when you go back in history to the issue of when government, you know, took the mission schools.
Most of the mission schools, yes.
And then it was like, you guys are closing up, we need to open up, we need to standardize your curriculum, we need to make sure that you are teaching them the things that are valuable, you know, to the development of this society, you know, so curriculum standardization and all those things. And then there have been other reforms, reforms such as universal basic education. Yes. That was supposed to ensure that every child between the age of 6 to 15 actually attends a basic education.
And there are textbooks to it, yes. There were books, free books, yes.
We got free books.
Yes.
Textbooks.
We got free books.
We didn't get. I did not. I didn't have.
But delivered to us with government stamp on it, not for sale.
Not for sale.
we got them in this country, Nigeria. Now, going back to the UBE, is supposed to at least provide, as enshrined in the Constitution, that every child between the age of 6 to 15 is supposed to have access to education. Primary 6 to GS3. So what is happening today? We find out that there, maybe like some other issues with Nigeria, poor execution, poor implementation of policies, is always the challenge.
The challenge we face in the country.
What we face in the country. It was a very laudable, policy. Same with the GS3 6334 system. Laudable to introduce, technical education, to prepare them for if eventually you will not be able to further. You have something to fall back on in terms of skills, development. So the reforms, maybe some reforms in terms of girl-child education. We've had quite a lot of awareness on letting girls go to school, and I think that we do see that as being impactful. But in terms of other reforms, in terms of providing access and quality education to our children, I think that is not been very, very effective, in the sense that when you talk about education, you talk about out-of-home children, out-of-home school children. And today in Nigeria, the state says we have 18 million. 18 million of children between the ages of 6 to 15 who are outside, who are not able to go to school. Why? Probably because of poverty. But that's what the UBE
is supposed to address. So that's what it's
supposed to address. So why should we have? And then we have issues also, such as insecurity. Probably by the time they are moving, up north, you have issues of infrastructural decay that keeps coming in. You have issues of poor funding. Nigeria's budgetary allocation is averaging at 8%. The highest we've ever got is this current government, putting in, that 8%. Averagely from 1962 to 2023 is about 6%. Now, UNESCO benchmark says that when you are planning your budget, that the minimum should be between 15, 20, 26. Oh, Nigeria with a size of over 200. If I was checking, 223 million people, we are allocating 8% to education. We are saying we are not interested in the quality of the children that are going to take over from us. In Ghana, they are over 20%. In South Africa,
and that's why Kenya, they have a very good education standard. And then you see Nigerians going there to see them going there to go and study.
You go to Ghana, so because they are trying as much as possible to invest in the education. So we've done quite a lot of, and we have quite a lot of good hands, with PhDs and everything at the center of these reforms. But the challenges of implementing this policy, just like other sectors, are probably, some of the things, that we are having and that we need to improve upon.
It's time for us to go for our short break. And we'll be right back. So, let's take a word on marble, and we'll continue with Mrs. Furishaw. Let's take a word on marble, possibly a vox pop. I will be right back, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
I can't allow my child to attend a government school due to a lot of reasons. Number one, their curriculum is not as good as the private school curriculum, and the way they teach them in private school is totally different from the way they teach them in public school now. Public school used to be a very good school there because I attended public school when I was in secondary school. That was very good, but now you can't compare to what it is now. It is worse now. The government is not doing anything. When you look at the infrastructure is bad. When you go to see some dilapidated structures in some states, in government school, and it's so worrisome. The government is not really doing anything about it. So I must commend Lagos State government. At least they are still trying, but I'm not seeing a replica or to replicate other governors or government replicating the same thing to to other states. So even their teachers, I don't think they are even qualified. Some of their teachers in public school, some of them are not even qualified. That if it's here, they're speaking of English is not even good enough. But if you go to private school, of course, they teach them dictions, they teach them a lot of varieties of things, and so on and so forth. Even sometimes I feel like becoming small again, and attending private schools now. But it's unfortunate that those days cannot come back again. So I would prefer in any way, in all ways, for my children to attend private school more than public schools.
For sure. We all went to the government school. And the government still say, okay, they are teaching them very well. Everything's still there. Moral is still there. Forget about there are many, but we still have the children that are doing very fine in the school. That's nothing bad.
Yes, my name is Ajibode Akishola, and my son Daniel Ajibode attended Ojodo Iju Grammar School. I went to University of Ibadan as a civil engineer. So I have a lot. I one attended Jabatech. So yes, government school is better than private school because they have a lot of many facilities and that's equipment from biology, physics, chemistry, and agri science. So if you really want the quality, if you can't afford the more private school, let your children go to public school that they have standard equipment and teachers that they will train them. So I support public school.
Yes, I have both experience, both private and government. So my first daughter and my second daughter, they went to a private secondary school. But what the difference is that when they went to private school, they are very good. But in terms of practical, they are not too much. But in government, they have everything, and government have the facility, especially this time around. They have the standard school, and the school they are building now is even more better than private school. They have good toilets, good chairs and tables. That does it.
No, now. Before, maybe in the last 10 years, I would have allowed him or her because I actually went to a government school. It's not government school per se, but a missionary school that they will leave us. I travel all the way from Kanji Dam to Titcombe College, and that's in Kogi State. So of course, and there's nobody that will follow me because the road was safe, and my parents will not have any heart attack to say, oh, my child is on the road. And of course, there's no communication like this then. There's no phone. We only have landlines. But of course, maybe when I get to school, I'll write them a letter that I got to school safely. But these days, even the private school that will allow them to go, it's not that we are patrons, but we're sure that, okay, they are safe. It's not that governments are trying. Everybody is trying their bit, but I cannot for now.
In discussing education, attending government school, I'm a privileged and thankful soul that attended one. Thank God all our Vox for all the people on the Vox of said they agreed to the government school. Every of our people attended government school before private. I'm not here to bring down the private school. But one thing I want us to know is this: the curriculum, the syllabus, the government school is the basic, is the standard. Even private pick from it. And we've been discussing with Fumisho, Olufumisho, Labisi, Oyelowu. And before we went on the break, we're talking about those reforms and the facilities and the benefits that is being given out to students by government. Of course, we have talked about the government side. Now, let me come from the parents' contribution towards this available means. I remember vividly very well then when we're being given government textbooks. Some students will come back before the end of the term, 13 weeks. You see some of the textbooks torn in between, mishandled. And it got to a stage, I remember they would tell you, drop those textbooks in school because your name is already on it. It's not for sale. Because by the time you take it home now, it will be torn and everything. Now, let's bring it back to now. That parents don't even have those textbooks, and still they make available the textbook for the children, or some don't need them. Some are even expecting that the government should give them. And those things being made available are not well managed. I'll give you a very good example. I remember there was a time I went for a parent forum, one of the government school, and there was an allegation that a student decided to, I think they gave them a particular book by one of the House of Rep member, and it was a textbook, comprehensive one for exam in readiness of past questions, and they said this boy used it and wrapped it with marijuana and was smoking with it. Now, in the process of this, where can we see the parents have also been negligent when it comes to looking out for the welfare or the well-being of their children, using everything brought into them? Because definitely such a child would have, maybe the parent didn't know he was doing it, or maybe he's not, he or she is not aware of what the son or the daughter has been doing. And now what is being given to them for free is being misused. Where do we handle parents? Or where do we blame parents? Or where do we call parents back home to understand that whatever we have, we should also use it well and help our children to also manage it well?
Thank you very much. So I think the choice of the kind of school that your children will attend is a reflection of your socioeconomic status in life. If you have enough and you can fund it through, you can send your children to the private school. If you want to be real to yourself and say to yourself that I want good education, affordable access, and I'm going to support my child, then the public schools are there. Because look, the public schools are good. The public schools are still good. Maybe I'm also still focusing on where I am based, I'm coming from, and what I have seen in recent past. The kids spend about 6-7 hours in school. So how does the attitude and the behaviors of your children now becomes the problem of the school, of the teachers? So you do not know that your kids have attitudes, challenges or whatever, and you are not able to address it. They sleep in your house, they wake up to go to school from your house, and then when they're not behaving well, you go back to school and you are blaming the teachers. I will give an example. There was a time my son, I got a report from school that I should come to school because of my son. I went. I wasn't expecting anything out of place. And when I saw the teacher, I said my son was among those who were found at the back of the school at a particular time. I introduced myself. I said my name is Funsho Ilomu. I am the mother of so. I said I'm very sure there's a mistake somewhere. It was a mistake. Because I told I have never been called to say, my father will always attend school with me on grace occasions, to support me, to encourage me. You understand? And so when this is how you behave in school, your focus is now. We didn't have enough. But I remember when I was taking my school certificate, my dad made an arrangement for me to be able to read. I didn't attend boarding house. Between 7 and 11 to write my school certificate. So anything in terms of behavior, it is the responsibility. These kids were with you from ages 1 to 5, their formative years. What were you inculcating into them? They come home, they bring things home. I tell my kids, we don't bring people's things home. I know the things I've bought for you. Who I borrowed it from does your friend know you took it? Return it. And that is why you have this level of social decadence that we have in the society today, because the values, family values, are being eroded. Parents are not taking responsibility of what they are supposed to do raising their children. They are blaming teachers. Teachers have their own children. They have their own children that they need to focus on. So you are not buying books. Parents, the school is providing school for you. You are not taking care of it. Now, when they now say buy those books, you now saying government should be buying. Let's even say if the where government is supposed to do, they are not doing. When you are supposed to do, your educating your child is an investment that you are doing to yourself in the future.
That's true.
Okay, you know, when you were talking, my mind was actually going to the private schools, and this is because growing up, like I said earlier, I left a government school to a private school, and I saw the difference.
Yes.
There was great difference.
Yes.
But looking at private schools now,
Yes.
aside the fact that they come up with different, we are incorporating British curriculum, American this, American that, and they're extorting parents. I would want to ask that, do you think that the government has lacked the tendency to regulate these private schools? Because I feel like it is parents who are lazy that easily ship up their children to private school, whereby a child will misbehave and you have the right to go to the school, and because in a government school you don't have that time. Which teacher will you go and start harassing when they have different teachers for each subject? But you see in private school, one teacher will handle everything. So when there is an issue, you know who to. In fact, there was a case where they will go straight to the owner of the school and threaten, if you don't do this, I'm pulling on. And then you see them begging parents when a child is misbehaving. Now, I know in Lagos State that when my kids were attending a particular school, there was this regulatory body that they are trying to regulate private schools.
Yes, it's very active.
Now,
yes.
I'll still bring it back to the question, is it the fault of the parents or the government not regulating the whole private schools? Because sometimes you see some private schools, like you said, duplex is even big. In my area, one room, and they'll put one school and they'll say government approved. And I'll ask, who approved this private school?
If you check very well, that may be a fake approval just to get people in that area, to attend. But I know that there's a whole lot of focus, standardization of processes and management, even at the leadership level, that is going on in Lagos State. Again, I know some other states are also coming along, but this experience vary, from state to state. We are talking about standardization of whether it is the fault of government. Private schools are set up for commercial purpose. Let me use that. So you don't want to annoy parents. You don't want a situation where you will beat their child and they will take their children away from school. In public school, you will tell them, look, this is my child, help me
to discipline.
He's your son.
Help me, and we had teachers that raised us. We had teachers that raised us. My godmother today was my teacher. She's still, we had teachers that raised us as their own. They were interested in our well-being. That was what we took out from public schools. For private schools, the teacher is not. The teacher cannot even look the child in the face and
can say anything.
Because you are going to go and report. I do not know what the government can do about that, but it's the choice. Like I said, a woman, a parent that will go to school to go and harass. That is only if, because we see some teachers that are misbehaving and beating kids anyhow.
Yeah, true.
That one is abuse. That one is not discipline. And some of us, we experience that when we were
we did not see it as anything. We didn't see it as anything. We were using it as bravery. I remember my late chemistry teacher at the moment would beat you under your feet.
Mr. Ogushola, Mr. Oshi. Down your back, and they will be beating. No, with the advancement of society, we have seen that that's not.
Now you're supposed to correct all of them.
But I know that there is a whole lot that states, ministries of education that are trying to do to standardize curriculum. to standardize, resumption, for instance. Before in Lagos State, the private school will resume 2 weeks after.
Before the
public school will have resumed. And you have all that kind of situation, and that has been.
And now there's a general midterm break.
There's a general
everybody
midterm.
1 week close at the same year.
That tells you that there are reforms going on. There are reforms going on. Government is doing its best, but it's just that because there is population growth. When I was in school, the population of Nigeria was 74 million. 1981. The population of Nigeria is 223 million today, and the budget allocation is still under 10%. So as we are exploding, as people, there is no focus in the rural areas. There is rural-urban migration. People are leaving the state to come to Lagos. They are leaving the east to come to Lagos. There is so much pressure on the infrastructure and the resources of Lagos. For instance, or even or your state, Ibadan, those places that seem to have some form of development. Let's go and stay there. So those are the pressures. Teacher shortages. There are so many people that are not. If your child told you, when I go, I want to be a teacher.
Well, right now I will say yes, but teachers, migration policy,
a big connection to the improvement, of education.
Thank you so.
Thank you very much, man. It was wonderful.
Deeper knowledge and understanding of what we've been talking about. Joy.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been a wonderful one here, and we'll just tell you here, whether your child is attending private or government school, do your work as a parent. That's just what I'm going to tell you. Be an intentional parent so that you bring out the very best from your kids. Thank you very much. My name still remains Princess Joy. Well, we'll see you tomorrow.
I want to say a big thank you to our guests.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so good to have her this morning, and I hope you've learned one or two things. Our time is fast spent. I want to say a big thank you to Famous, to Tonya, to Zil, to Covenant, to Johnson, to Magdalene, and to everyone out there watching. We're so glad and happy that you could join us. Please follow us, share, like, and don't just love and hate. My name is Remain Olori Adejoke. I'm giving up to see you tomorrow. Have a splendid day ahead of you. Bye for now.